what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Midwest Meltdown. It's your boy, Zach.
It's Josh. Today's episode is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Go over there and apply today to become a member and be immediately connected with advertisers that fit your audience. Go to podgo.co at podgo.co. And do not forget to tell them that the Midwest Meltdown sent you.
Or
You'd think I'd have that memorized, but I don't. I have to read it every time.
I was going to say, dude, I feel like that's just like it should be like in the back of your mind now, just to be like, oh yeah, like you go to sleep going like, this episode's brought to you by Podgo.
Go over to podgo.co.
You'd have been saying that in your sleep by now.
Oh my God, do we have somebody else in the room here?
Oh my God. Everybody.
Very special guest.
We have another guest because, like I said, that is our new MO, bringing people on, getting more social. Everybody, I'd like to introduce to you IGN UK's what award did they just give you? I just saw it again, Amy.
Oh yeah, no, I actually did. I got a achievement award for efficiency. A very efficient human, apparently.
One of IGN UK's most efficient employees, and also the host of the podcast My Game Fiction Addiction, Miss Amy Mallet. Amy, welcome to the show.
Yay. Thanks for having me, boys. Woo, woo, woo. I just want to say I am actually a figment. Josh and Zach are just chatting to themselves. And it's
kind of like a Morgan Freeman narration in the background.
Yes.
Oh, we should. All right, cut this. We're going to restart this whole thing. Going that way.
At this point, Josh looked at Zach and thought to himself, why am I still doing this show with him?
Oh my God, yeah. Like Stanley, you guys played the Stanley Parable?
I have seen gameplay for it.
Same.
Yeah. I was thinking something kind of self-aware like that. Like Josh figured if you just cut the recording now, no one would ever know.
I was watching Outside Xbox is one of my favorite like gaming channels.
I love those guys.
Yeah, they're really funny, and I really like the content. And what I love specifically about them that no other frickin' channel does, that I wish they did, is when they go over anything. Like if it's like top 5 weapons, bottom 5 weapons, they do beware of spoilers for the following games and just run a nice little slow list of all the titles that are going to get spoiled. Yeah. I appreciate the fuck out of that.
Same. Because the amount of times, like, I often find that with some listicles that you get, certain publishers will actually just like launch into it, and by the time they've said spoiler alert, you kind of already know the context. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, oh, for crying out loud, like you've just introduced this on a list of like, I mean, obviously if it's something like, villains who end up being the good guy, then you kind of know what the twist is going to be. But yeah, I feel you, dude. I love the fact they do that, because it's just, if there's a game on there that I want to play, I can duck out.
I've done that a handful of times. I have. Like, it's not that I want to stop watching their videos, but it's kind of like this catch-22, right? They get people to stop watching their content.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's been the same. It's like, top 5 saddest endings. I'm like, all right, I'll take a look at this, and then it's like not from them, and I'm watching this video, and then it's just like Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm like, motherfucker, like that's all I need to know to have the game spoiled.
Actually, just out of curiosity, what would you say is the saddest ending that you've ever experienced in a game?
I know this answer. The Darkness 2.
Ooh, okay.
Have you played that?
That was gonna be my second guess for you, Josh.
Yeah, that one like really affected me for like 2 days, like 2 days straight. I was like sad.
Oh man, so bummed out.
Yeah. Zach, do you have an answer?
I mean, I'd probably say The Last of Us 2. I don't want to spoil anything for everybody, but that whole game. I was going back and I was checking out the episodes that you recently did on that, Amy, for The Last of Us 2, and I'm just starting to get back into my second gameplay of it because I think I've emotionally recovered,
emotionally ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to get hurt again
from the first. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm ready to be dragged through the mud through this one again. Like I'm just so ready to be torn up. But honestly, other than that, I'd probably go with what I thought was going to be Josh's number 1.
I mean, Mass Effect 3 is pretty heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Didn't they? Wasn't there like some controversy with Mass Effect 3 where they kind of had to redo the ending?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember hearing.
So what happened? I never experienced the original Mass Effect 3 ending because I did some playthroughs on Mass Effect 1 and 2. Yada yada yada. Then they came out with what they called the extended cut, was a free DLC.
Yes.
And then I just went 1, 2, 3, carried my save over. Had 100%. I literally did every single thing in the whole trilogy, and then experience the extended cut. So for me, everybody was losing their mind and like, oh my god, it's so terrible. And I was like, this wasn't so bad. So whatever.
Yeah, I'm absolutely stoked for the remake they're doing. I can't wait for the is it?
I know.
It's remastered,
It
isn't it?
looks
It's kind of like all three.
It looks really good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I sent Josh a video the other day, and they did like the top down comparison to original trilogy versus the remastered one. The setting and the planet environments are so vamped up. It looks absolutely incredible.
Oh,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I can't wait. I never really experienced. I played a little bit of Mass Effect 2, I think, but I never experienced the entire trilogy. And obviously, just having finished Cota on My Game Fiction Addiction, I've got a bit of a BioWare bug now. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's the perfect thing to kind of get into it and appreciate like where really good role playing kind of came from. So yeah, no, absolutely,
that'll be perfect. I actually am kind of envious, and I know we've talked. I think we talked about this with you before, but not experiencing things for the first time, I'm actually like jealous that you're going to experience Mass Effect for the first time, all remastered and all polished up and everything.
Yeah, because I remember actually we were talking about that on our episode, which obviously will be coming out fairly soon. But we talked, didn't we, about wanting to erase your brain, basically. Like, if you could reach for a neuralizer, what would you totally go for so that you could experience it all over again? And yeah, I think that's definitely, we spoke about obviously BioShock being one of those, but yeah, there are so many great games that, especially when there's a big twist, and you're like, man, that changes everything. Yeah. And you almost don't want to, having a second playthrough now, it wouldn't be quite the same. So yeah, there's always those situations where you wish you could just like wipe your brain clean.
Yeah.
Right.
I think between now and June, sorry, Zach, I'll tell this quick. I'm just going to drink really heavily for the next 2 months.
Jesus.
See how many brain cells I can erase and then go from there.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. Take them out.
What's
Take them all out.
I forget too much.
I was really loving you guys talking about all the bourbons that you were drinking on the last episode with Lucas, because
we had to bring that back.
I love a good bourbon.
That was funny because it was one of our staples in like the first 5 episodes, and then it just
we abandoned that shit pretty quickly.
Like, hey, what are you drinking? Like, first thing right out of the gate, like, what are you drinking, dude? What are you drinking? And then like we're just like, all right, no one wants to know. Let's just get into this crap.
I will say that to the point where you're like swilling it around in your mouth in front of the microphone. It becomes some weird like
it's water
ASMR shit. Like,
that's some good bourbon. I will say this: when I played, so Josh got me obviously into Mass Effect, and I played Mass Effect 2, and I very much pissed him off.
Oh, really?
Because at the time, so this was pre hardcore gamer Zach. Like, I was still just sort of getting into a few things. I was playing some games here and there.
Yeah.
I was really not that into them. So I mean, again, in Mass Effect, it's all about exploring and doing side quests and getting relationships,
talking
with
to people, reading the codex, like all this in like.
And I was like, where is point A, and then how do I get to point B? Okay, cool. So then at the very end, when obviously certain characters may die based on relationships you have or don't have with them, like half my crew died, like right out of the gate, and Josh was like, "Oh my god!"
Like, you fucking bastard.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Yeah,
you lost everybody. You had a complete and utter massacre.
Pretty much,
you did actually.
I will say this:
no one's gonna be in Mass Effect 3 for you. Congratulations.
I do remember I had for sure 3 people still standing, because I know these are the 3 people I like gave the most interest to. It was Miranda, obviously. Why am I drawing a blank? Who's Garrus, and what's the Krogan name? Who's his name? What's his name? Krogan, the big guy.
Yeah, I forget his name every freaking time.
Oh my god, you're actually okay. Him. I know at the end of Mass Effect 2, I had those 3 for sure, and I do not remember if I had anybody else. That's how bad I played that game. That's basically I should, like, if I ever had like a video recorded of that, I should just put it up on YouTube, being like, don't play Mass Effect 2 this way.
Don't be me.
Don't be me in this situation.
All right, enough about us. Let's talk about Amy.
So yes, Amy. Amy, our guest, before the show, like we do with every guest and how Josh and I started our show, we would like to hear from you what your top 5 favorite games of all time are. So we know it was a tall order, so we hope you got through it, and let's see what you came up with.
It really was a tall order. Like I'm not gonna lie, it was very very challenging. I basically wrote out 10, and then I kind of had to like sort of work through them and be like, okay, who do I like more than this? You know, who kind of gets into video game heaven and who doesn't? And yeah, I think five is really challenging, man. Like 10, I could easily do 10, but 5 was really tough. So I have some honorable mentions if anyone needs any of those.
No, that's
We'll
fine.
take
That's
'em.
fine.
Yeah. So I guess do I start on my number 5? Is that
Yes,
kind of
please.
how we roll in?
Yep. Go ahead. Do 5 through 2. You can kind of give like a little sentence on why you chose each one, and obviously we'll hit a little bit more on at home than on number 1.
Yeah, of course, of course. So so 5 for me. I this one was actually, funnily enough, going back, harking back to our BioShock discussions. BioShock Infinite very nearly made spot number 5, but I think the game that edged it was just, I don't know, there's just nothing else like it, and I think that's kind of why I went for it. But Shadow of the Colossus, which we did
Ooh.
an episode on fairly recently, me and my buddy Ollie, and it's just breathtaking. Like, it's such a strange and like haunting experience. Like, the language in the game is entirely fictional. It's this kind of weird forbidden land where you've basically got to slay 16 of these like gargantuan creatures. So it's a strange game because the format is kind of like 16 boss battles
Mm-hmm.
in a row, you know, like there's no real side quests, there's no NPCs. Like, it's quite a lonely experience, but it's just beautiful. And if we're talking like endings, you know, that kind of hit you in the feels, and I won't
Oh,
spoil it for
yeah.
anyone who hasn't played it, but fuck, man, like that is an ending that just kicks you in the jaw and you don't see it coming. And yeah, I think it's also beautiful in terms of its visual style. Obviously, it started on PlayStation. It's interesting. It's one of the only games that's existed across like 3 generations of
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation. So it started on PS2, then went to PS3 when they did a remaster, and then obviously Bluepoint Games, who did Demon Souls, they remastered it for PS4, and that was kind of where I was like, oh my god, the fur, the beautiful like landscapes, everything was just so crisp and gorgeous, and yeah, I love that game. So that was number 5 for sure.
And I think it's just didn't mean to cut you out. I just wanted to add to it really quick. It's amazing how like simplistic, like it's beautiful and it's obviously like but it's still very simplistic. Like when you look at the surrounding and everything, like
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. Like it's I will say this. I told Josh about the mechanics of the PS2 that are obviously still there with the remaster of the game, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that infuriated me.
Oh,
To an
dude,
alt.
yeah, you're not alone there. That was very divisive among fans for
Oh,
sure.
that
Yeah,
was
Zach said I would probably fucking rage if I picked it up.
you would no
Your
doubt.
horse. Oh my god, the horse. The horse is such a
Oh.
love-hate relationship for everybody who plays Shadow, because you think she's awesome, but at the same time, she corners like she's on rails, and you're just like, what is going on here? Like, why won't you jump over this cliff? And yeah, she's the physics are challenging to say the least. So yeah,
Yes.
you're not alone there for sure.
All right, let's hear what do we got for number 4.
Okay, so number 4 is not usually the kind of game that I would play. I suppose I've often played point and click games, but not my favorite genre, I would say. But this is just a game that to me it's just so well written. It's so funny. It's downright hilarious, really, and the characterization, the dialogue still stands up. Like, I would say, actually, funnily enough, my partner played a little bit of it with me recently and was like, "This could be a Pixar movie," and I was like, "Yeah," albeit quite an adult one. And it's Grim Fandango, which is just fucking incredible. Like, if you haven't
I've heard a
played
lot of
it,
good things.
so good. Have you guys played it?
I haven't.
You need to. You absolutely need to, dude. It's basically the premise is that you work for the Department of Death. You're basically a Grim Reaper, and you're selling insurance packages to the afterlife. So you're kind of like a salesperson, and when everyone dies, it's your job to kind of be like, "So, how good were you in your life?" And that kind of means what credit you get, essentially, like whether you're going to get to the afterlife on a bus or a plane or whatever. It's just such a clever idea, and yeah, it's really funny.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. If you would
really
have
good.
told me that the game was centered around selling insurance, I could not think of any way possible that would be fun. But
Yeah.
by God, I stand corrected.
Here we are.
Well, it's a very small part of it. It's a very small part of it. That's basically just the premise. Like it starts off you work for the Department of Death, and your whole job is like basically selling insurance to souls. And it's also kind of inspired by like Mexican Day of the Dead kind of style, like those awesome sort of masks, and it's really really cool. I definitely recommend it. The story alone, it's not an action packed title, and normally I prefer a bit more action, but it is just amazing story. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Where can you find? Is it PC only or is it on console too?
It's everything. It's on PS Now for free at the moment. If you wanted to give it a go on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, it's and yeah, it still kind of holds up. Like obviously it's kind of blocky in the sense that it's like an older game, but actually like the dialogue and the voice acting is still really, really good. Like you can't, I mean, like I say, my partner was pretty impressed recently when he played it. So but yeah, no, it's on PlayStation, it's on everywhere really.
Okay. That's kind of thing that'll hold up no matter what, is if the story is quality and the effort put in by all the actors and creators is quality, like you can get over graphical limitations and still appreciate the game.
Absolutely, yeah. And honestly, there are so many hilarious lines. Like often games try to be funny and they don't quite hit the mark.
Yeah.
And I think the writing in this is just fucking sharp. Like it's so good.
Well, I might have to add that to the list.
Yeah, definitely. So we got Shadow, we got Grim Fandango, and then the third one, I do feel like I'm bringing some really obscure ones to the table, but
that's good.
The third one is one that I don't think either of you two will have played it, and if you have, that's great. I will eat my hat, but every single person that I talk to about this game, they're like, "Oh, what?" And it is Beyond Good and Evil, which is, honest to God, probably, I mean, well, it is among my favorite 5. It's my third favorite game of all time. Think sci-fi Zelda. But like kind of on a planet, you play as this awesome sort of female protagonist. Her name's Jade. She has like wicked martial arts style and like a kind of like a long stick called a daijo that she fights with. There are aliens that are kidnapping people. There's a big conspiracy that you need to overthrow. It's just absolutely wicked. And it was actually Ubisoft. It's the same. It's Michel Ancel who made Rayman. And he made Beyond Good and Evil, and then I don't know if you guys know, but Michel Ancel kind of like stepped away from video game development and decided he was going to open a wildlife sanctuary, and was just like, okay, cool, that's my job now. Yeah, it was really pretty sweet. So I was like, okay, fair dues. But obviously that his baby, Beyond Good and Evil, hasn't been given a sequel, and Ubisoft do want to make one, and they've frequently released trailers and spoken about it, and then everything's kind of gone quiet for the last little while, so who knows if we'll actually get that sequel, but hopefully we will.
I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but I thought I saw the release trailer for the sequel almost 3-4 years ago.
Yes, yeah,
at E3 or something.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That's the one. They had like a cinematic trailer, they had a gameplay trailer, and they even have this thing called the Space Monkey program where you can kind of sign up, and they'll basically give you like testers and stuff. And I actually did it before I got into the games industry, and I was like, yay! And obviously now I'm kind of thinking, I kind of have a relationship with Ubisoft now, so hopefully I'll be able to play it. But it's it just looks, I don't know. I don't know. Part of me is nervous that they will make it kind of, and I mean this in the nicest way, but like they will Ubisoft it. They'll make it kind of a big open world game with loads of icons on it. And I'm really hoping they don't do that. But yeah, it's just, like I say, it's kind of like Zelda in space. It's really good.
All right.
I just found an article really quick about, I don't know if you had heard about this, Amy, but it says Netflix is making a animated series about Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh, no way. Really?
Let's see. The article was July 31st of 2020. It says Netflix shocked everyone today with the news that they are developing a live action animated hybrid film for Beyond Good and Evil.
Dude, this has blown my mind. You can probably hear me frantically typing.
Let's see, what is this? Cool. It looks like it's comicbook.com is where the article that I found, at least, is where they talk about it.
Shit, that's absolutely amazing.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's the director of Detective Pikachu, apparently.
That's what it says here. Yeah.
Wow, that is,
Browser. Wow.
dude, you have made my day. That is amazing. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, I always, because it is really awesomely cinematic. So who knows if that's in the works? That could be so cool. Because it's a strange one. Because like most video game movie tie-ins, as you guys know, are like things like Tomb Raider and sort of Doom and Silent Hill
Mhm.
and Resi and things that are big franchises. But this was only one game, and it was just kind of a cult classic, and it never really
Mhm.
went anywhere. So man, hopefully that's good.
Wow. About to say,
Did
maybe
you
get
do you
more people
remember
into.
seeing about that, Zach, or how did you
But what?
like? It was just you just like pulled this knowledge out of nowhere.
Oh yes, I just
Out of
had
the
my
way.
vast knowledge in my head. No, while Amy was discussing it, because I had never heard of the game, so I was secretly
Oh,
like
just to look at it.
typing it up. So I
Mm.
went and clicked on a picture of just like the cover of the game. And as I'm scrolling, there was a picture then of the main character with the big Netflix N next to her. And I was like, huh, what's this? And I clicked on the article, and that's when it came up. And I was like, I think Amy might get a kick out of this.
Yeah, no, she does. She gets several kicks. She gets like, I don't know if you guys are Pokemon fans, but she gets like Hitmonlee on crack. That's a lot of kicks. Yeah, that's really awesome. I'm kind of blown away by that. That's really cool. I'm hoping that comes to fruition for sure.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
All right, so that was 3, correct?
That was three.
Yes, okay.
So number 4. This one is one that I just love because I spent my youth playing it. And actually, funnily enough, today been doing some content at work around zombies, and I've been like, zombies, man, they're like bacon. They make everything better. So it's Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead is genuinely
Yes.
like, it's just so good. I'm absolutely stoked for Bound for Blood. I think it's really funny that they've kind of put the Bound 4 in there because, as we all know, Valve can't make anything with a 3 in the title. So, yeah.
Dude, I'm so happy Left 4 Dead's on your list.
Yes, I just love it. Like me and my mates, I remember me and my friend Dan used to stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning when we were at uni, just trying to get through. We'd play sort of like locally, and then we'd have 2 mates who were also online because the kind of drop in, drop out co-op was really cool. And we'd basically try and get through levels on like the hardest difficulty, and we'd always get shafted by the tank every single time that you thought you were safe. The game, because one thing that's really cool about Left 4 Dead is that it writes its own code. So
yeah.
games, it's like procedurally generated in the way that it will always adapt to how well you're doing, which I think is just like insane. Yeah.
I'm so happy. What was your favorite locale in Left 4 Dead 1?
Oh man. Well, Left 4 Dead, I played more Left 4 Dead 1 than I did 2. I mean, I really loved the little miniature one, Crash Course. I thought that was really cool with the helicopter. I obviously, you've got No Mercy, which is the hospital, isn't it? What's the other? There's like I want to say like the third one is, oh no, hang on. The one where there's a church and the guy is gone crazy in the church and he rings the bell and then all the zombies come.
I think it's the third one because my favorite one is the fourth one, which is the one with the boathouse at the end, or the boatyard.
Yes, the boatyard. Yeah. Oh man, it's so good. I'm so glad you love it as well. It's amazing. It's just such a fun game. Like they need to. It's a shame they haven't sort of made a third one, but maybe Bound for Blood will be that, scratching that itch.
Yeah, I wish they would, because then I wish they would, I don't know, put it on all consoles, because that would be something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I used to play it on, obviously it's PC, isn't it, as well, because it's Valve, but I used to play it on Xbox 360.
Yep.
That was kind of where I first started playing Left 4 Dead.
Same.
But, yeah, man, so good.
Oh, man, I don't even... How can your number one be any better?
Well, my number one, I can't help but feel like I'm a bit of a cliche here, because I feel like this is very much... I don't know. I feel like it's everyone's favorite game to some degree, especially if you're an RPG fan like I am. But I think if you sort of have ever stalked me across anything really, like Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, whatever, I'm obsessed with it. And it's obviously cliche-ly Final Fantasy VII, because it's just fucking amazing. Like, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I recently tried to get my partner to play Remake, and he was like, I just don't get it. I don't get why they make... What did he say? He was like, I don't get why they make all these anime sounds after they've said stuff. And I'm like, what do you mean? This is like, seriously, like, you guys might know what I mean, but he was like, how come someone says something and then just goes, huh? And I was like, you know what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. But I guess I've just kind of blanked that out because I've been a fan for so long. But yeah, I really like RPGs. I loved Final Fantasy X. That was the first one that I ever played. But 7 just, I don't know what it is about 7. It just has, all of them are really good. You know, I've played most of them, but 7 just, there's something about the world and the idea that it can be a fantasy game without being typical Dungeons, Dragons. Like up until that point, every fantasy experience I'd ever had was like, there's a wizard, there's a knight, there's dungeons, and there's, you know, there's a mythical castle. And for there
Sneaky
to be
archer.
Yeah, exactly
Guilty.
that. It was for it to kind of be this like urban metropolis and eco crisis and kind of like a lot of modern day themes and a very sort of dystopian environment. I just fell in love with Midgar, definitely.
I will admit I have never touched a single Final Fantasy title.
Oh,
so I gotta ask you this question then, because I haven't really understood it. What the actual hell is up with that one where they're like pop stars? I don't get it.
What one is that? Oh, okay. I'm trying to think what Josh means by it. Is it like maybe are they 3 girls who are pop stars?
Oh no, the one I've seen gameplay for is it's 4 dudes and they're like a boy band and they drive around in this like
the most recent one. I think.
Oh my god! Okay, so you're referring to 15.
Yes.
They basically, there's a lot of like real e-boys going on in Final Fantasy. Like there's a fuckload of sort of droopy hair and I think they definitely look like a boy band. They drive around in their little car and stuff. Yeah, that's 15. That's 15.
Okay.
I would say like if you want to get into one, like I'd say, I mean, there's obviously 8 is really good, and 8's just been remastered, so that could be a good one. There is these bizarre things in them. I think that's what I love about them is that they just suspend disbelief in so many ways. Like 8 has got this 8, they're all in an academy, like a training academy for soldiers, but it fucking moves. Like this whole thing, this training academy actually like moves around like a spaceship, and it kind of like travels the land. It's like it's just stuff like that that's utterly bonkers. You know, it's rooted in fantasy, but then it's kind of gone off the rails somewhere down the line. So,
do you remember the Final Fantasy movie?
Yeah. Was this the one for 7? Or the one that was Spirits Within, which was the first one?
Oh, well, I'm gonna look like an ass now because I have no idea.
See, Josh, now she put you on the spot, and you fucked up.
Josh was like,
tried to look cool.
Googles. We're back to the Stanley Parable. Joshua regretted that immediately.
I'm just gonna own it. Be like, I don't fucking know. I just saw part of it once.
Yeah, I think it probably was the Final Fantasy movie was probably I think it's called Spirits Within, and that was the first one that ever came out. And the CGI, it's really funny. The CGI then looked amazing, but when you look at it now, you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
That's
but yeah, I do know what you mean. But I mean, I'm actually really intrigued. Like, you guys have probably spoken about yours loads, but because mine are all quite obscure, like, what kind of have you guys ever spoken about your top 5 on the podcast? I'm guessing you probably have at some point, but you know,
for sure.
Sure, you
our
do know.
Very first episode was our top 10, and that literally took us like 90 whole minutes to talk about everything we wanted to talk about, and we had to cut it short.
You get it, yeah.
If you want, I could quickly. I have it. I have the list in front of me, and I could rattle off both Josh and mine top 5.
Yeah, I want to rehear them because I'm pretty sure I've listened to your first one, but I kind of came in halfway through, so I might not have done.
Sure. Okay, so let's see. Josh's top 10. Now, this is obviously back a year ago, so obviously subject to change. At the time, Josh's top 5. Number 5, Borderlands number 1. Number 4.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he again, he's the one who got me into Borderlands too. Josh, number 4, Red Dead Redemption. Obviously. Number 3, Fallout 3.
Nice. Fallout 3 is an absolute classic.
If I say, Josh, you were the ones who've played all the Fallout games, or most of them, I should say. Number 2, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. The PS4 remaster in particular, I have written down here.
Yep.
And then number 1, Mass Effect 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, great. So we started strong with Mass Effect then, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Amazing. They're a fantastic selection there.
I had a kind of a controversial one at number 5, but I still stand with it.
Okay.
Number 5, I did Star Wars Battlefront 2, like the most recent one that they did.
That is controversial, but I mean, hey, if you love it, you love it. I mean, it was only really the EA side of things and the kind of monetary issues that I
Exactly.
think gave it some bad press. It wasn't a bad game from what I remember.
Exactly, and we came into it after they had rectified those issues too.
Exactly. Josh and I played. I mean, that's one where when I was looking at the top 5, like we look at hours of how many hours I put into a game. Josh and I played multiplayer in that forever. Like I think there was at least a good 5-month stretch where we just played that game nonstop.
Really? Oh my god! No way. That's pretty cool.
I then have number 4, Mass Effect 2. I think just going back and playing that game, and I mean, I'm going to get the remastered trilogy. Absolutely amazing. Number 3, I have Uncharted 2.
Yeah, Among Thieves. Yeah, amazing game.
Absolutely, like one of the games where it was like my first big video game experience, because I remember it came with the PS3 that my brother and I got. It was like the bundle that my parents got, and it was just like that opening train sequence. I'm like, this is just selling point.
Yeah, it's such a fantastic set piece. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Then number 2, I have Red Dead Redemption 2, even though Josh will fight me on that tooth and nail.
Both tooth and nail, yes.
You're not a fan. I'm not wrong, am I?
You are not wrong.
Yeah, told you.
I think Lucas had Red Dead Redemption 2 on his list too, didn't he? So I bet you were like, damn it.
Yeah, he did, and Lucas became a better friend. Yeah, he became a very good friend to me. And then number 1 is pretty much the most obvious pick in the world for me, The Last of Us.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I feel like I'm obvious with Final Fantasy VII, but The Last of Us is like, yeah. I mean, that said though, like, absolutely, you're 100% fucking right. It's great. It's one of the best games ever. So
I've been trying forever to get Josh to play it, and he's still...
I will. That's what I was just gonna say. Is I'll give it a shot. Dude, the beginning is so slow.
Oh, but it's the most heart-wrenching thing.
So
like, I mean,
sad.
do you mean like the first initial cutscene, like the first intro into the infection, or do you mean like the beginning part of the game?
The beginning part of the game.
Oh man!
Because I got through. I don't think this is a spoiler. I mean, the game's.
I mean, it's not really a spoiler if it's like happening in the first bit. Sorry, his door dies.
If you've never started it, stop listening. So I get through the first part when they're at the house, and then I get through the part when it, like present, quote unquote, present time.
Yep.
And I did a couple missions, and I'm just like, this isn't. It's not hooking me here.
Right.
Because like I didn't know who to. Personally, I didn't know who I aligned with because I didn't like anybody I was meeting. So I'm like, oh, I don't fuck all these people. I don't want to do any of this stuff for you guys. Kind of a thing. I don't know. I just wasn't hooking me. I'll try it again because like it's hard to be the person that dislikes something that's so good. I'm not saying it's a bad game. Like I've never said that. It's just
said though, Josh, like at the end of the day, opinions are opinions, and I think that's the important thing that everyone needs to remember. And I think things can get a little bit, especially quite crazy in the games industry when people are just like, no, it's the best thing ever and you can't possibly hate it. And like if you play The Last of Us and you don't like it, like I'm not going to think any less of you. Like it's obviously an opinion that isn't as common, but it's still an opinion.
True. You're just wrong in every way, shape, or form, but it's fine.
But it's fine.
I'm sure you guys have had it before where someone's been like, no, you're wrong. And it's like, really? Just because I'm not as big a fan of that one thing. So
pretty much all the time.
All the time.
I will say this, Josh. I think, Josh, once you get to the part where it's literally just Joel and Ellie on their own, I think from that point on, you'll enjoy it a lot.
Yeah. I think so. I think the thing is, a lot of the other characters in The Last of Us, so, off the top of my head, you've obviously got Robert, you've got Tess, the people that you meet very early on, you, if anything, don't really bond with them as much. And you almost get a sense that people are disposable when you're playing The Last of Us. Okay. That's almost a theme that kind of runs through it. Whereas you and Ellie, it's kind of all about your relationship building. So, I think the more you play it, the more invested you get in those two characters in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The smile on my face right now from all talking about this is just, I think, too big. So I think we should probably move on before I really want to get into more greedy details on the game.
All the spoilerific tales, for sure.
Really excited.
Okay, well, thank you for getting together your list. I think it's super fun. I'll give Zach the credit on this one. He's kind of And we didn't like officially talk about it, but he's always like, all right, we're gonna ask them their top 5. We're gonna ask them their top 5. And I'm like,
I think it's a great idea. I think it's an
we did a bunch of
breaks the ice too.
Exactly. And we did a bunch of them, and I like look back on it, I'm like, oh, that's such a good idea.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So before we jump into any topics, Amy, tell us a little bit, how did you get to where you are and like the position you have, or what kind of got your role in there?
Well, I mean, so I've obviously always been a massive nerd. there's no secret there. Like, I live, breathe, sleep, eat video games. I have done since I was about maybe 3 or 4 years old when I first had a Mega Drive. Like, I just love video games. Like, that's my passion in life. That's what I want to do. It's what I want to dedicate my life to. So I graduated. I did creative writing and English lit at uni. So always very sort of writing focused. That was kind of my strongest point. Literally allergic to maths. So anything that's in mathematical at all, like that, just does not compute. So I always figured that I'd probably have more of a kind of creative job than I would have like a logistical technical job, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Once I graduated, I did the usual thing that everyone does, where they make cappuccinos or they like serve pizza or whatever. I had lots of menial jobs. And then I started working for a radio station, which was my first proper gig. And I was writing the jingles and the really cheesy adverts that you hear on the radio station. So that was like one of the jobs that I did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. I look back at it and I'm like, it was really fun because it was just it was very creative and it was client facing, so you obviously get to be salesy. And I guess my job now is that way, but it's more about the things I love now, which is why it works better. But I it's a funny story actually. Is I went for a job. The first sort of stab I took into the games industry was at the BBC, and they have, so obviously you guys don't have the BBC over there. It's kind of like the little weird crown jeweled in our British crown, but it's obviously the broadcasting sort of network, and they had a show called Newsbeat, and they were looking to do like a gaming show as part of that, so like a gaming news show basically on the Beeb.
Okay,
and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I will go for that. So I went for it, and I didn't get the job, but I kind of came second. Basically, it was between me and one other person, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if that person has more experience than me, and she did, then that's cool. That's fine. I completely understand that. So I kind of went back. I was a bit deflated, but I was like, oh, okay, well, I took my first stab in the industry. I guess I'll get there eventually, back to writing radio jingles. And then I just happened to be talking to a few people on Twitter that I knew. One of them was Gav Murphy, who is amazing. And he was like, oh, there's a job going at IGN because Alicia Judge, who's also lovely, absolutely wonderful human, has left. And she, it turns out, got the job at Newsbeat. So the weirdest thing was, like, if I hadn't have failed, this is why I think everything's like happens for a reason in a weird way. Like, I'm not massively fatalistic, but I'm like, that just goes to show that you shouldn't be put off if you don't get something, because it could lead to something better. And quite literally, she got that job because she wanted to go freelance, and good for her. That was great. She also had the journalist experience that they were looking for. But in doing so, she left her post at IGN, and obviously that opened that door for me. So I was like, oh, great! I obviously have the knowledge and the passion. I have the experience in branded content because I worked at a station for so long. So I kind of got in through there, and I've been here now for nearly 3 years, and the rest is sort of history. My job's expanded quite a lot. I sort of started obviously just doing writing and campaigns for clients, and I now do voiceover stuff and presenting stuff as well, which is really cool. So
winning awards, cashing checks, snapping necks,
all the things I love, really. Just going to basically snapping necks. Only in games. I have had some weird tasks in games over the years that I've had to do for videos, etc. Like, I don't know, hunting through the Resident Evil 2 demo for Easter eggs, like combing every inch of that demo, looking at every pixel, like, oh, I gotta find Easter eggs. But so it's really fun. And it's very busy. I think I'm part of the UK team, and we're obviously not as big as the States, but we still have quite a lot on our end. So I think what's quite nice is that there's quite a lot of UK developers and publishers here. So Bethesda are local to us. Ubisoft have headquarters here in the UK as well as in Montreal and stuff like that. So it's
awesome.
pretty cool.
Can you tell us which radio jingle you're most proud of?
Oh, here we go.
Oh my god. I'm trying to think now. I remember, I don't know why. It's actually really funny that we're having this conversation because I remember this came to me today. Like, you know, when you just get like a flashback and you're like, oh God, I remember that. I did wrote an advert for a company that was selling trailers, like trailers that you carry a horse and stuff in, you know, like a trailer that fits on the back of a car, basically, for storage stuff. And they wanted to promote their trailers. And I basically wrote it as a trailer for a trailer. So it was like this big cinematic voice. And it was sort of like 5 stars and stuff like that. And the whole advert was a piss take of like a sort of massive blockbuster movie, but for a trailer.
That's awesome.
And yeah, that was the one that sticks in my head. And I don't know if it actually did well because it was one of those ideas where I was just like, oh, this will be funny. But yeah, there was that. I remember having to I don't remember the words, but I had to write a Trust a Trader ad to the tune of ABBA. And that was quite amazing. So yeah, like I say, I can't, God knows. It was something different every day, which was fun.
I was gonna say you should go back and check out trailer sales around that time.
Yeah, I really should, and just see
it skyrocketed or just flat out plummeted.
Booming. Plummeted, like it just made me. I will never haul with this.
After this, I'm never getting a trailer.
People are actively being turned off trailers because of this advert. My work here is done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will ask you this too, Amy. So we're like I said, I was kind of going back through some of your episodes. I mean, on my game fiction addiction. Which, by the way, how old is that show now? I mean, I think it's still pretty young, right?
Really young. So I only started it in lockdown last May. So it's in next month. It will be a year old. Which so it's very much a babby, and it's indie. It's indie to a T in the sense that I'm the only person who does any work on it besides a guest. Like, I've had a jingle made for it, but on the whole, it's just me editing it and recording it. So it can sometimes be a bit of it's a lot of hard work to get it done alongside my day job. But it's really fun and I've really enjoyed it. And I've loved the response that I've got from it because people, even though it's very small and in its infancy, people seem to really like it. So, and you guys have been smashing this. I mean, how long have you been going for now?
We're coming up on a year.
Yeah, right. I was about to say almost exactly a year.
We're twins. Oh man, you've done so much work as well. Like
we should do like an anniversary episode.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Do you know what we should totally do it because we've got BioShock to sort as well. But that would be stellar because we could do. You know what? Like we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary this year, but this is like a bumper year. I don't know if you know for video games. Loads of video games are celebrating their 25th anniversary this year.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like every time I open my phone, there's some sort of anniversary. I have been noticing that.
Yeah, Pokemon, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, loads.
Oh my god, Pokemon's 25 years old.
I know,
Holy
right?
crap.
Pokemon is 25 years old.
Just for accuracy's sake, April 13th will be our 1 year from our first episode.
Oh, dude, that's really soon. That's next week, right?
Yep.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing how time flies. But the thing I love about your show, Amy, is how I mean, obviously you have us two bumbling fools who kind of just go into any sort of topic or hit this or that. But the thing I love about your show though is how you really pick games that have that strong narrative component, and you just dive right into it. And the two that I had noticed that, because I actually just finished this game recently, were Limbo and Inside.
Oh, yeah.
I just finished Inside. Like, I just got done with, like, the 100% for it. I got to see, like, the special ending and everything.
Way. That's really challenging. Like, we were talking about that on the pod, like, how those trophies it's really intricate how you have to look high and low for them.
They are. I mean, the thing that sticks out is that you have that yellow cable. There. I will admit, there was one that I had to look up. It was actually for the secret ending. There's like you're going through that cornfield and you lift up the vault door.
Yeah.
I never would have found that on my own. Like,
yeah. Oh God, no. Well, I mean, also the code for that thing. One part of it I remember because we googled it and we were like, because again, when we did the podcast, Bertie didn't know that either, and I
mhm.
remember just blowing his mind and him being like, "Oh shit, like that's actually a thing." And yeah, it was. I can't even remember how we found it, but there's like a tune, and you have to get it in the order
It's
of the tones or something.
so what they said was there's a certain chapter where if you go into the factory portion, you'll hear the tune in the background.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, that was actually another part I had to look up too because I'm like, I never ever
No
would have been
way.
like, oh yeah, that's how this goes. Oh, okay, cool. No way, not a chance.
It's
Yeah.
like trying to close the fucking rift in Call of Duty Black Ops,
Yeah,
or in Black Ops Cold War Zombies.
I've had to look up and actually go through piece by piece a 15-minute video, and I'm like, how in the actual fuck has somebody sat down and been like, oh, you do this and you do this? And it's kind of like like my buddies in Illinois. We play like we do the raids in Destiny 2. And
Mm.
like the developers release them and nobody really knows how they actually work. So people have to just do test trials of them. I'm like, how in the actual fuck do people know like how this shit operates? Like this
That
is
irritates
bananas to me.
That with Black Ops, like, look at the oak tree, not the ash tree. There's an ash tree right in front of it. You have to look past it, look to the oak tree. Like, dude, come, what?
Would you guys love? Here's the thing. Would you love to be one of those people who finds the Easter eggs that then outside Xbox are like, here are 10 Easter eggs we can't believe we didn't find. Like, so I always think to myself, who's the first? Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
who was the first person to realize that? I mean, it must have been like a Konami guy got really drunk down the pub and was like, "There's a code in Konami." Because who the F first realized that the Konami code existed? Like, who's twiddling their thumbs and then that happened? It's so,
Exactly.
and then you get
Right.
50 lives in Contra. Yeah, I just think I'd love to be the person that first discovered something like that and was like,
I think about that all the time, and I just do not believe that they were looking for something and found it
yeah,
because of
yeah,
how obscure or hidden it is.
exactly.
I don't know. I just can't believe the circumstances that they're like, all right, I'm gonna find this. And
Yeah,
then,
no, I totally agree.
whatever.
I feel the same way. I feel like you had to have had somebody on the inside who told you that was there.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I will say this name. So Josh and I have both played Limbo.
Yep.
Josh though has not played Inside. So
No, not yet. I have it though.
You do. Oh, you do have
Oh,
it.
cool.
I think I bought a combo.
Oh, yeah, they come together in a package.
Yeah.
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 Oh well, then never mind. Forget my next. I was basically going to say which one would you rather prefer to see if you'd play this one, but he already has it, so irrelevant.
Which one did
Just
you
play it,
prefer?
Josh.
Which one did you prefer when you
Ooh.
played it?
I thought the puzzles in Limbo were a bit more intricate and more like you actually had to think about them.
Yeah.
But Inside had, I think, just more of like the immersive think into it of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way I could put it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And also, I've just actually this has just dawned on me. But Zach, if you got the 100%, you would have had to have done the trophy where it's like, actually, I don't know if this is Limbo or Inside, but there's one trophy that's like you can only die 3 times in the entire game.
That's Limbo.
That's Limbo. Oh, okay, cool. I
have
remember
not
seeing that and it
gotten
put
that.
me clean off getting the plat. I was like, I don't think I've got the patience for that.
I think it's you have 5 lives in Limbo,
That's it.
and
Yeah.
I went back and I was like, oh, let's give it a shot. I died like in the second chapter, and I was like, yep, not doing this.
Straight onto the trap in the very beginning that you can't see.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
like the first thing I was like, oh, this is I'm like, and that's another thing too. Like when you see those kinds of achievements and you see that it's been completed by people, I'm like, why?
Yeah. It's
How have you
mental,
done
isn't it?
this?
Yeah, and I remember talking of like you guys was talking about outside Xbox. Like I remember they did a video. I think it might have been them, and also I think PS Access did one too, where they were basically talking about like the achievements that we'll never get, and it's stuff like that that really puts me off. Anything that's like you have to do this. And you can only die 3 times in the whole game because it's just the idea that if you fuck it up, man, like what a time sink, you know?
Yeah.
And the
yeah.
same thing with, oh my god, Resident Evil 2 has one where it's like you have to finish the game in X amount of steps. Can you imagine if
I saw that and I was like, I would be over that step limit in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I remember like how I played that game. It'd be done.
Exactly. And also, can you imagine if you got right to the end, Josh, and then you realized that Leon had like stepped 1 step over? You'd be so pissed. You'd be like,
You're like counting, right? And you have this counter.
yeah.
So you can see how many steps you have, and you get right before you get on the train, and it's like you're gonna take 2 steps and you only have 1 left or something. I would quit playing fucking video games if that happened.
I would throw my controller at the wall and that would be it. I'd just be like,
I'd leave it there though. I would just be so pissed and I would stare at my screen for a while.
hoping Leon will just sort of like hand his way through.
Maybe the wind's gonna come.
Yeah, exactly. Blow me on the train.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh god, I can't believe that exists. Yeah, that is such a harsh trophy.
Well, unfortunately, Zach is being a very good fiance, and he's gonna have to take his fiance to the airport. So we gotta wrap her up, don't we, bud?
Running low on time, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we've still been going for nearly an hour, so that's amazing.
And it feels like 5 minutes.
It really does. It really does. It's so good to talk to you guys. And I'll make sure that we obviously recording this at this point in time, it won't be out. I think you guys will put this out before I put out the BioShock episode. But stay tuned for that, because that'll be an awesome thing that we can share. Because
absolutely.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna say, Amy, as we're wrapping up here, go ahead, plug your show, where we can find it, socials, floor is yours.
Oh wow, amazing. Okay, so My Game Fiction Addiction, if you like video game stories, if you have ever played a really good video game and fallen in love with the narrative, if you love characters, if you love choices, all that kind of stuff, and you want to like dive into the nitty gritty, that's what My Game Fiction is. Every month, roughly, depending on how busy I can be, we will basically dive headfirst into a video game story and dissect it, talk about what we loved, all that kind of stuff. You can find My Game Fiction Addiction anywhere really podcasts are. Like, it's Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Pods. It's also on Podbean as well if you are so inclined. So yeah, that's kind of it really. And yeah, we're on Twitter and Instagram and all the various places. And we should be having an episode with you guys really soon, which will be awesome.
All right.
Oh,
perfect.
Hell yeah. We're wrapping this up just in time because the garbage truck outside my apartment is currently operating and being loud as hell. So I'm like muting myself.
You slid under there like Indiana Jones. Grab your hat on the way out.
Well, again, Amy, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll have to do this again soon, hopefully, for a 1-year anniversary episode.
Absolutely. I will sort out BioShock this weekend, and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, excellent, Amy, you have a standing invitation to the show. You are one of our favorite guests.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys, and keep smashing it. You guys are absolutely nailing it, and I'm really proud that how you guys have grown in under a year is nuts. Like, I thought you guys have been going for longer than that. So.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. So again, thank you, Amy, and thank you everybody for tuning in this week. And we will catch you all next time.
Saka.